Today, good morning. Today I brought kind of an old school.
You want me to hold it? I can.
It'll stay. Can you guys see it though?
You want to move it to the side?
Yeah, because the.
Right in the.
All right.
That can't see that. Let me hold it up for you.
Oh, the whole time, Vanna?
It's only fine.
Okay. What I thought I would do is I thought of a bunch of different options for letting you know about my business. And I have a tour that I could show you with a video. I could go through a day in the life of a veterinarian and go through the different cases that we see and how exciting it is in emergencies and boring stuff like wellness plans or whatever. But I think most of you know what a veterinarian is. It's not a new concept to most people. And so going over what a veterinarian does seems like a waste of your time, and probably mine too. But what sets my business aside, what makes it different from other veterinarians, is this. This is our mission statement. And every person in my practice has made a commitment to make this mission statement real. And most veterinary practices, frankly, if they have a mission statement, most of the employees don't know what it is, and they certainly haven't talked about it. And this is something that we talk about at every staff meeting, that they helped to build, and that we try and live in our day-to-day business. So I thought I'd go over this really quickly, and that'll very clearly tell you what our business is about. The first thing is that we, of course, want to apply the highest standards of excellence to our patient care. We want to be the patient's advocate, and we want to give each patient our best effort every visit, every single time. What that translates to is even if we're busy, even if this is the 50th puppy that we've seen in the week, and we still want to really focus on that individual patient's needs. It's very easy to get burnt out in this business. We see 20 patients a day. We see thousands and thousands of little black cats through the year. And so you tend to say, okay, just another one of these rabies shots, and let that person go. And in reality, if you do a thorough physical exam with every single animal, and you insist that you're not going to sell medications without a physical exam, and you insist that clients listen to you for 5 minutes, instead of letting them come through like a McDonald's drive-through, then it's the best thing for the patient. So we have to stand up for the patient, and we try and do that in every room with every single visit. And maintaining that energy does take some effort, so we talk about that as a group. We want to treat the structure and equipment of the hospital as compassionately and carefully as our patients. In many places that I have worked, there'll be a $30,000 ultrasound machine that gets blood spattered on it or poop, and nobody cleans it up. And they think, well, they'll just buy another one. This is a big corporation. I used to work for Banfield. This is a big corporation, and somebody will fix it. They'll just send us a new one. It's no big deal. And tended to think of the business as something with unlimited funds to replace various pieces of equipment, or they would ding the drywall and nobody would care. And I found that in places where people have pride of ownership, where they say, this is the place where I work and I'm proud of it, I'm proud of how it looks, I know how much things cost, I know that we're not going to be replacing it. And we talk about what things are valued at in the practice and bring everybody on board as far as what that means to them. If we lose this ultrasound, for example, that's it. We can't save pets that have a bladder stone from here forward. So we really talk a lot about that, and that was a goal of mine, to be in a place where people actually cared about where they worked. We want to exceed the expectations of our clients. We want to win their trust. This is a hard one. Client service is difficult when you're also trying to be the advocate for the patient. So you have a client who is homeless, who brings in their pet and needs care. How do you advocate for the patient in the face of this obvious distress on the part of the owner? So balancing client service and patient advocacy is something that is important to discuss with every single person that you interact with. People tend to, especially in the veterinary industry, tend to get onto the side of the patient, and they're advocating for the patient over and over again and forget about client service, and they just say, that person doesn't care about their pet. They were 15 minutes late to their appointment, and they don't listen to the people anymore. So balancing out client service is a constant challenge in the veterinary industry, because most of the people that work in the veterinary industry got in there because of the animals. So that's something we have to talk about a lot. Contribute to the community and protect the environment. That one's really close to my heart. I see so many corporations, not including this one, I might add, but many corporations where they're very profit focused and they don't give anything back to the community. So we've devised a plan at Happy Valley to be a part of a program called the PAW Team. Have any of you heard of that downtown? Yay, oh you guys have. PAW stands for Portland Animal Welfare. And what it is it's a non-for-profit, you should Google it, a non-for-profit organization that meets once a month, and they pull in veterinarians, vet techs, drug companies, all kinds of things. Those people donate their time and effort, and it's an open clinic full of free medical care for people who can, they're basically homeless or on welfare, people who can demonstrate that they're receiving government aid, they've had something catastrophic happen in their life, and yet they still have a pet, and though they've lost their house, they have this cat living in a crate in their car, you know, and the cat needs some flea stuff. And so it's an enormous relief to them to be able to go and say, you know, I have this desperate, horrible thing happening in my life, but can you just help me for 5 minutes take care of this cat so I have one less thing to worry about? And that's what we do. And so I donate my time and go down there and spend the day and give medical advice and give shots and hand out free things and guide people on to what's the next step for their diabetic cat when you're a homeless person. It's challenging. And then protect the environment. We set up the practice so that it was as sustainable as it could be. If you come take a tour, I can tell you more about it, but we use Mrs. Myers for cleansing, and we have biodegradable trash bags. Vet clinics use a lot of plastic, so we try and recycle as much as we can. We're completely paperless, and as far as I know, we're the only completely paperless vet practice at any practice I've visited. Everyone has files, and they want to keep papers, and even though we have the capability to scan things in and keep them in the computer, they still want to produce a lot of paper, and so we are 100% paperless. There's not one file in the place. So that's a big piece for us for protecting the environment. We want to provide a welcoming workspace where we treat each other with dignity and respect. It's really easy to turn on each other when we have an overwhelming number of patients. We have equipment that's not performing properly and clients that are yelling or crying. There's a lot of stress that happens in the vet hospital. When we euthanize pets, for example, there's a lot of upset owners. And of course, then the staff, they're so empathetic. They get upset as well, and then they start attacking each other. And so to recognize the high level of stress in the environment and then pledge to not do that, to treat each other with kindness, and when we need a moment to go away and take a break, to support each other in those difficult times. We have to be very mindful and very purposeful for that, and so that's on our mission statement. We also have a staff bonus program. The staff pets are completely taken care of. We have staff medical insurance. We have lots of things that the hospital does to try and support our staff, including living wages and stuff like that. Recognize that profitability is essential to being able to achieve the above. That one is actually really the most important for other veterinarians that are going to be working for me. It's very common for veterinarians to give away a lot of stuff for free. They think that, I love this animal and I want to help it and you can't afford it, or you've said no for whatever reason, and they say, well, you could just have it. So I think it's really important, if we want this business to succeed, to step back from the fact that we're in a compassion-focused industry and say, in addition to compassion, we have to pay our rent. Which, especially in the shopping center, is important to pay attention to. It's not cheap. And so many veterinarians, or in particular people in the vet industry, tend to get really guilty about asking for payment and tend to feel really weird about it. And then we get the finger from clients as well. Like, how could you ask for money from me? Don't you love my animal? And so that's a constant challenge, and it's something we need to be really aware of and then not feel bad about it. So this is our mission statement, and we really do try and live it every day and try and bring it all together and stay in balance, and that's Happy Valley Vet Hospital.